Morning, market chameleons and Mr. Pogonic. How are you doing today, Dima?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Great. We're starting 9 o'clock. Let's start right with the disclaimer. What do you think?
Yep. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, keep in mind, Will and I, Market Chameleon, we're not registered investment advisors. We're not broker dealers. We're not telling you what to do. We're just sharing ideas. If you need professional help, call your broker. That's what they're there for, to help provide you with guidance, answer your questions. There's a disclaimer, everyone.
Excellent. What are you seeing this morning?
Let's take a look here. I think we'll start out with the pre-market report. We'll quickly take a look at what industries performed well yesterday. I think we'll also take a look at unusual option volume. And then if we have time for some bullish bearish ideas, and along the way, if you have any questions, Will, let me know. I'll try to get to those questions before the end of the show.
Sounds good.
Okay, so right now I'm on a pre-market report. These are stocks that are actively trading in the pre-market hours. We have the most active stocks, biggest percentage gainers, biggest percentage decliners. I'm going to quickly filter out stocks that are higher market cap, see what's going on there. So I'm using this market cap. Let's do 20 billion or higher. And on a percentage gainers list, I see BIDU up today, 8.7%, 441,000 shares trading in the pre-market hours. And I think there was some news on there. I'm hovering over right now on the alerts, and it looks like they're getting into that electrical vehicle space. Just reading the headlines really quickly. Didn't read too much about it, but you could see there on that news up 8.7%. And talking about that, here's a couple electrical vehicles. Tesla up 4.6%. In the pre-market hours, I believe that's new. That will be a new 52-week high. Let me just check.
You wonder when that becomes a crowded space.
The electrical vehicles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every car maker is making electric vehicles, right? I mean,
now other companies are getting into that space that had nothing to do with electrical vehicles. So we used to work because the valuations just keep growing and growing and growing so far, and there are a couple people already who started, some high profile people started shorting these. And we used to work for a really good you and I, when we started, we used to work for John, who was like an excellent trader, and he would tell me, when you think the valuations are really high, extremely high, that there's absolutely no more room to go up, because it's just insane, it's going to go up another 30%. Because right as prices go up, that's when people just start jumping in on it. And we're just seeing every day now, Tesla's just shooting to the moon.
Certainly, we saw that during the internet boom. I mean, we saw that every day.
Yeah, we're a victim of it. I remember before the financial crisis. Remember when we were looking at Fannie Mae? Yeah, I'll tell you the story really quickly. Oh my God, that was so painful, because at some point we started buying puts on Fannie Mae because we're like, there's no possible way this company, it's 52-week high. The company did not report their financials for 6 months. The accountant said they don't know what's going on, and everybody knew that they were buying all these bad debt, but their hedge funds buying it kept driving it up for another 6 months, and it was very painful to watch. So,
and very painful in the pocketbook, right? It'd be nice if we had that money back.
Yeah, getting in, and eventually went out of business or got taken over by the government. But
you almost have to wait to the turn to start playing the short side.
In the midst of
be super careful, and being naked short the stock is that's when you're faced. But if you're playing short with puts or whatever, you got to make sure you can do it for quite a while, right?
Yeah. But look, maybe they'll pull it off. I don't know. Maybe Tesla, from a valuation standpoint, right now it looks very high, but I see people driving Teslas everywhere, more than ever before. But it just seems like when you're looking at the numbers, how are they going to do it just from selling cars alone? So
yeah, well, for Elon Musk, he's already pulled it off, right? As long as he's taken some of his chips off the table, which he may not be, you know, he's
Yeah.
now the wealthiest man in the world. I mean, literally
Yeah.
4 years ago when we started market, you know, there was talk of that he may go bankrupt, right? He was personally invested at almost 100%
Yeah.
in Tesla and his space company. I mean, he was fully invested in his dreams, and
Yeah.
at this point, it's worked out in spades. But
well, I think that's where that valuation is also coming from. It's the confidence of the market. He's a visionary, right? And he's going to pull another rabbit out of it. You know, whatever he comes up with or whatever he's thinking right now can be very disruptive. And like you said, he's in not just the car business. He's building underground tunnels and, high-speed trains and sending people to space. So he's very into that transportation.
But that's not within the Tesla brand. Those are all outside enterprises that he's invested in. But you don't get any of that. You don't get participation if the tunnels explode or if SpaceX, and I think it's SpaceX. When that IPOs, that's another winner for him. As long, that's on the shelves to IPO probably in the next year if the market continues the way it is. It's incredible.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to interrupt.
So, no problem. So let's take a look at the unfiltered report really quickly. We got some small cap stocks here moving. Just to save some time, if there's no questions on this, I'm just gonna kind of move on to cover more reports, because we do the pre-market every day.
Sounds
so let's
good.
take a look at the unusual option volume from yesterday. And these are stocks yesterday with unusual option volume. I'm gonna screen because I see some like low price stocks. So let's just take a look at stocks that are at least $10 or higher. So I'm using this filter here, and a couple that popped up. So here's 3D Systems, so DDD.
Wow, that's a blast from the past. 3D Systems.
Yeah, and they're in the 3D printing space.
Yeah,
right?
that was a hot space. Probably, I don't know, what, 5-6 years ago.
Those are high flyers. Again, they were very high flyer stocks. People got excited. Though then everything, people exited that industry. They weren't performing that well. It looks like right now they're coming back. Look, the stock up 104% yesterday.
Yeah, well, there was talk during the 3D printer explosion, and that people would be, you'd start printing everything at home, right? You would just buy one of these printers, and then you could print your products right at home. And I mean, I don't know what they're doing now, but certainly there's a place for the 3D printers, and it's probably going to be an incredible technology 20 years out. But it didn't show up in every house. Basically, the people who bought it in their homes are like almost hobbyists and, people really into technology. And so
I know one of our developers built his own 3D printer at home. So he said it was pretty cool. I mean, as a hobby, like you said, it was more like a hobby to see how it works. But you could see here yesterday.
He now uses it to build toothpicks.
Yeah. I forget what he printed. It was something I can't remember. Some kind of a tool. But so yesterday 3D you see traded 223 options contracts yesterday. That compares to an average daily volume of 6,000, so 36.7 times its average daily volume. And I just noticed this one, SSYS, they're also in a 3D printer. So let me see here. Yeah, computer hardware, I believe they're also 3D printing, right? Yesterday also made the unusual option volume list. 54,000 contracts traded yesterday compared to average daily volume 3,800. That's 14 times its average daily volume. That stock was up 39% yesterday. IPOE, I believe that's a shell company. Yes, so it's a shell company that traded 85,000 option contracts yesterday compared to 3,000 on average.
It's interesting, those shell companies. I mean, those are the SPACs, right? So at some point they may be invested in something that's interesting, you know, name change, whatever.
Yeah, because they're buying the private, right? They're buying shares before they go IPO and investing in companies.
Well, they are IPO, right? The product doesn't go IPO. What happens is they roll it out into this SPAC, into this shell company you're seeing.
Right.
You know, eventually it will become Nikola. And, you know, so I didn't know they traded options on the shell companies before they, you know. So interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, they're up 57% yesterday on the stock. See applied volatility increasing right now in the 100 percentile rank. I think there's another shell company in here that I saw. Can't find it. Here's a therapy biotech ARCT traded 24,000 contracts yesterday compared to average daily volume 2,400. That's 10 times its average daily volume. That stock was up 35% yesterday. Applied vol ticked up a little bit. It's in the 55 percentile rank. Plug Power, that one traded 464,000 contracts yesterday compared to average daily volume of 113,000. 4 times its average daily volume. That was up 35%. Implied vol was up 7%, and they're doing alternative energy, right?
Yeah, I think it's hydrogen batteries. They also have, I think they're doing something with the South Korean government. The South Korean government has mandated so much power be actually presented to the public view through hydrogen batteries. So they've got like some sort of contract or something. So
okay, yeah. So it'll be interesting because I know that stock was at one point went down a lot. You know, let's just take a look. 52-week range. You know, $2.53.
Yeah, no, people thought it was going to go out of business.
Yeah, yeah. Now $50. Marathon Patent that traded, 338,000 contracts. That's 9.7 times its average daily volume. It was up 31% yesterday. I think we looked at this before. They do mining of Bitcoin, right? Up 13% in the morning. So let's just take a look. So focusing on mining digital assets, cryptocurrencies, and so those are where they create these machines that follow the blockchain, right? Mine the Bitcoin and like make little bits of digital, like they get rewarded with like bits.
Yeah, as long as power prices are inexpensive, those servers run 24/7. You know, it's
right.
It's interesting. I mean, listen, that's 52-week ranges. It got down to 35 cents. You know.
Yeah. So there it is, 35 cents, $25 right now. And it's just following that as Bitcoin's going up.
Yeah. I mean, when JP Morgan makes a call on Bitcoin of, 174,000.
Is that the target now?
Yeah.
174,000.
It's their first target. It's the first time they've made a call. So.
Right. Wow. Well, I thought they were against it. I thought JP Morgan was not in favor.
Well, John Diamond thought it was sketchy 2 years ago. So
now he's changed his mind, or just that's.
Well, I guess within the organization, they realize it is definitely an asset that people want to hold and that they can, have custody of, and so they're now involved for sure.
They probably figured out a way that they could make fees on it. Right.
I would think so.
Clean CLNE, clean energy, fuel cell energy. So we could see here, 3D systems, some shell companies that made the list yesterday. Clean energy, alternative energy made the list. So as you can see here, this is from the mutual option volume. And we'll take a look at 3D. I mean, it's up 104%. I'm going to just go to it really quickly because obviously there had to be some news on it. You could look at the news here. It's a lot to read. Let's just go to 3D systems. Before we look at the options chain, I'm just going to take a look at the summary here. and just jump to the news to see what the catalyst was. And I'm going to filter by press release. So over here we see that 3D system completes sale of confirmation and provides preliminary financial results. So here you go. So before reporting earnings, a lot of times companies will issue preliminary results or guidance, which, by the way, we mark on our earnings calendar. So if you go to the earnings calendar, if there's a preliminary report, we do tag that. So you could see here, they did announce some preliminary financial results. Looks like, they're I'm just reading it quickly as I'm talking, but it looks like they canceled a secondary offering, official termination of at-the-market equity offering program. They expect revenues between 170 million to 176 million. So I guess they raised it. They look like, and this is one place you want to go in there and look and see, like, what is the catalyst behind this move, and it's up to you kind of to see if that's justified or not. Again, really quickly, you can go to those press releases and find out what they're saying. I'm sure like the management is talking about some future guidance here. You can see that their earnings, they're not going to officially report earnings until February 25th, but they're giving you some preliminary results here where you want to go in there and take a look at. So here they're giving you like non-GAAP, income, stuff like that. So go in there, take a look at it, see if that's in your mind justified or not. And I'm seeing here they don't have earnings. $2.9 billion market cap, price to sales 2.4. So I'm just going to do a quick math in my head. All right, let's just do a quick math in our head. If they're earning, let's say 170 million, let's say 600 million in revenues per year. All right, I'm just doing an approximation. 600 million revenues per year. They don't make any earnings. And take a look at the key ratios. So let's say their gross margins, they're not bad, 40%. So what would you give their net margins if they weren't reinvesting, like 20%, Will?
Seems reasonable. We
So
do have Jake on. I wonder what Jake would give it.
So let's say 120. I'm just really doing rough estimates in my head. So if they were able to make 120 million in net without any reinvesting, let's just suppose that they were able to net that. 2.9 billion market cap divided by 1.2, 120 million, like, I don't know, what is that, roughly 25?
Jake says it's negligible net income.
Well, they don't have any net income. So just like Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla has no net income, so somehow you have to say, well, what could they possibly make if they did everything right? Look, Tesla, NIO, none of these have net,
and then Tesla.
But by the way, neither did Amazon for long.
They still don't. They still don't. Their net at the end of the day, they make very little. Amazon.
Yeah. So you have to kind of take a look. Well, what would they be able to? They have revenues, right? So you would think from their revenues, if they're doing it right and not reinvesting, whatever, 20%. Potentially, but that's just I'm just doing a rough estimate in my head. Let's move on to, if there are no questions on the unusual option volume, let's move on to.
We did have a question actually from Kumar, who was asked. He's asked 3 times now.
Okay.
I figured I'd get to him. He's asking about, he wants to scan the volatilities.
Okay.
And could you filter from 300 million to 2 billion market cap? He's asking on a high implied volatility list for now.
But from the unusual option volume?
No, he's asking for the implied vols. He wants to look at implied stocks with high implied volatilities.
Okay, so these are like on the 30 IV. So here's the implied volatilities. So on this implied vol ranking, right, we're looking at the 30-day IV. So we're not looking at like different expirations, but just the 30-day constant maturity, just to see approximately where the implied volatility in general was high. So here we got, the symbol, name. This is the stock price percentage, just 3D popped up. We were just talking about it, 3D systems up 104% yesterday. This is its market cap. Current implied volatility. This is the change in implied vol. Here you could compare it to where the stock vol has been moving. So we see here implied volatility for the next 30 days is 150. In the last 20 days, the stock has moved at an 80 vol. In a 1-year basis, 76 vol. So that's comparing it. So really quickly, you could see where the realized stock volatility was. This is the IV rank. So this is comparing over here the current implied volatility compared to in the last year, last 252 days. How does that closing volatility so far? What this is saying is that if we compared it to the previous 252 days, this is higher than all the other observations. That's what the 100% means. That, the last one was 100%, and 100% means it was higher than all the rest of the observations. This one compares it to a 52. So remember, this is comparing it to 252 observations. This here is comparing it just to the 52-week high and low. So what this is saying is if we just took the 52-week low and the 52-week high prior to yesterday, this is 126%, meaning it's above the 52-week high. It's 126%. So it's above that 52-week high, 26%. Okay, so this is really quickly ways that you could go in there and take a look at it. So what did he want to do? Look at
he was saying cap between 300 million, I think, and 2 billion.
Well, I don't have that exact. Let's do under 100 billion. So you can't just type that in that way. But here's under 100 billion, and what was he looking for? High IV ranks.
High IV, yeah.
So you could just do it like this by IV percentile rank, position versus 52-week high, or you could just do by the IV rank itself, sorted this way, or the biggest change yesterday. Okay, so that's really quickly how to do it. Hopefully that's helpful to him. We also have what the option volume was, and this here is also telling you the open interest and how much open interest is on a relative basis to the last 252 days. So if there's a lot of open interest, right, that's mean there's a lot of interest, a lot of open positions that exist in that option. So people have been trading it. Like over here, there's only 3,000 open interest in that product, but that's in the 100th percentile rank. So in the last 252 days, that's the highest it's been. And that's upcoming event. So hopefully this is helpful. I don't know if he has follow-up questions.
Oh, he said yes and thank you.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right. So we'll take let's take a look. I forgot to mention the industry. Let's performance by industry. So here we have this is from yesterday. Markets aren't open yet. So we have, these are the different industries. Over here, these are the number of stocks in that industry, the percentage of them that were higher yesterday, percentage lower. This is the median return of that industry. And then we have some historical. So I'm going to just sort this by best performer yesterday. So you see on a median, so solar, which we've been seeing, this is kind of the same theme we've been seeing. Yet 19 stocks in that industry, according to Morningstar, all of them were up yesterday. Median gained 5.7%. So if I open that up, let's take a look at the best performer. This one, Sunworks. Next one, PECK Holdings. These are the lower cap ones. Let me just sort by higher market cap. So EMPH, 27 billion, market cap of 5%. Solar Edge Technologies, 8.7 billion, market cap of 5.1%. Sunrun, $18 billion market cap, up 6.8%. So you can see they've been performing pretty well yesterday, and we've been seeing them coming up, on this report over and over. Another theme, auto manufacturers, we've been obviously seeing those coming up a lot. Semiconductor equipment, that's been copper, that's been popping up a lot. So let's see, semiconductor, yesterday, best performer, 19%. Add to more, that's a 588 million market cap stock. Let me sort it by market cap just to see.
Hey, D, really quick, we have a first question from Joseph. Thanks for joining, Joseph. He's asking how you got to this page.
So
is this a premium feature? I forget.
Yeah, so this one will be over here. So on this side is the premium feature. So under stocks for premium users, threshold. Performance by industry over here. Okay, so that's really quickly the by industry, and I'm just looking at higher market cap stocks. ASML up 2.3% yesterday, and this looks like an ADR. So yeah, you see this is an ADR. So an ADR is basically it's a foreign-based company that's listed in the U.S. And I'm just going to read about it here. So you see, founded in 1984, based in the Netherlands. It's a leading manufacturer of, what is that? Lithography systems used in manufacturing semiconductors. So you could just read more about it over here. Applied Materials, that was up 4.1% yesterday, 86 billion market cap. Lam Research up 3.6% yesterday. Kia up 4.9% yesterday. As you can see, those are the higher market cap ones. Semiconductor equipment. And we talked about this. Here's semiconductors here, 69 of them in this group. 99% of them were up yesterday. Median gained 3%. And we were talking about those semiconductors, right? Well, what was the story behind those right now?
Well, they're just, analysts have been calling that the cycle is actually changed, and it's a 2-year, it's at the start of a new cycle, particularly in DRAMs and MU. I think MU was up yesterday. So
yeah. And you would think like this economy growing, if the economy is growing, a lot of technologies are growing. Are they part of the electrical vehicles as well? Or do those?
I would 100% think there are semiconductors in all cars now, but I could be wrong.
They're in everywhere, right? They're in your mobile devices.
They're in a big part of our life. That is
televisions. I think they're putting them in there, but
refrigerators.
Yeah.
Washers and dryers, smart homes. It's incredible what's going on.
Yeah, and you could see here pretty decent semiconductors. Median margins 47.8% on gross margins. Here 43.7% semiconductor equipment. Here you have the price to sales, median PE ratios, but they've been growing on a 5-year basis. Average annual growth rate 20% here the last 5 years in revenue, 10% in net income. Let me see where's that semiconductor right here, which was better than just the semiconductors alone. 8% on average annual growth, 6% in net income. So that's really quickly by industry. I think we're right up against our time. So if there are no other questions, just send it here.
Yeah, great job, Dima. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Dima, great job as always. Thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe. Saw some new people on today. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, always a good idea. Thanks for joining us, Chameleons. Thanks for being active in the chat. Great job, Dima.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good trading day. Stay safe.